All right, welcome 8th graders. Today I'm putting on my coach's hat and we are breaking down your absolute game plan for a successful presentation day. You know, you've done all the research, you've written out your thoughts, and now it's time to step up. We're going to look at exactly how to translate all that behind the scenes hard work into a really fantastic, confident presentation.
So let's just quickly run through our playbook for today. 1. Prep for presentation day. 2. Deliver with confidence. 3. Giving helpful peer feedback. 4. Growing through review. And finally, number 5, the godly learner. But before we look at any of those practical speaking strategies, we really need to remember this foundational truth from Colossians 3:23. The hard work, the studying, and the sheer effort you're putting in today, that is ultimately an act of worship to the Lord. We don't just work hard for a grade, right, or to impress our friends. We put our whole heart into our education because honoring God is actually our primary motivation. Okay, moving right into section 1, prep for presentation day, getting ready before you speak. These 3 simple, kind of pre-game steps are going to anchor your nerves and ensure you are totally ready for a really smooth start. First up, arrive prepared. Have your script organized, your props ready, and just know exactly where all your materials are. Second, test your technology before it's actually your turn. There's literally nothing worse than stepping up to the front and realizing your slideshow won't load. Get that sorted out early, for sure. And third, take deep breaths. You know those butterflies in your stomach? They are completely normal. Deep, slow breathing literally tells your brain that you're safe, and it steadies your nervousness so you can actually think clearly. All right, section 2, deliver with confidence. Owning the room. Listen, your physical delivery is just as important as the words you wrote. You can easily keep your audience captivated by just practicing 3 key techniques while you speak. First off, make eye contact with different parts of the room. Don't just stare at your shoes, and definitely don't just look only at me. Connect with your classmates. Second, vary your tone. A flat, monotone voice puts people to sleep, right? Let your voice rise and fall naturally with your own excitement. And third, use natural gestures. Let your hands help explain your points, exactly like you would if you were just telling a story to a friend out in the hallway. But I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. What if I make a mistake? What if I lose my place? Look, it's completely normal to feel nervous about messing up, but how exactly should you handle it if something goes wrong mid-speech? Let's say you drop a note card. Do you run out of the room? Do you absolutely panic? No way. You simply pause, take a breath, pick it up, and just continue. Honestly, the audience barely even notices. A great example of staying composed is just calmly dealing with that little bump in the road. Panicking is completely optional. And remember, your classmates are actually rooting for you. They genuinely want you to do well. Next up is section 3, giving helpful peer feedback, being a supportive teammate. So presenting isn't just about you speaking, it's also about being a supportive audience member. And there's a critical difference here between unhelpful criticism and constructive feedback. Saying something like you spoke way too fast is unhelpful. And honestly, it's just kind of mean. It can feel really discouraging. Instead, try saying something like, I noticed you had great slides and I suggest slowing down. Using those I noticed and I suggest statements completely transforms discouraging criticism into true guidance that actually helps your classmates grow. We want to be constructive teammates here, building each other up, not tearing each other down. And remember, peer evaluation is a two-way street. When you're watching a classmate and they use a really cool storytelling intro that grabs everyone's attention, take notes on it. Apply it to your own future talks. Taking notes on what you admire in others actually builds up your own critical thinking skills. You are literally learning just as much from being an active, engaged audience member as you are from standing up at the front of the room. Okay, section 4, growing through review, your post-game reflection. So, at the end of the day, you're going to complete these 5 homework questions to reflect on your whole experience. You'll identify what went well, pick one specific thing to improve next time, note down what you learned from a peer, reflect on your active listening, and then process the feedback you received. Now, I promise this isn't just busy work 8th graders. This reflection is absolutely crucial. It helps you recognize your strengths, target your areas for growth, and really take ownership of your education. Because true learning happens when we take the time to reflect. Finally, section 5, the godly learner. Education with a higher purpose. Let's step back for a second and look at the big picture. Why are we working so hard to develop these academic speaking skills in the first place? What is the higher purpose here?
I really want you to read this verse from Romans 8 closely. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. The absolute crucial point here is that keeping our minds spiritually focused on God brings true life, peace, and lasting wisdom. It entirely changes the whole reason we go to school and the reason we even learn to communicate.
And that brings us directly to the core HeroesMart Academy philosophy. Education absolutely must be intertwined with biblical morality. Listen carefully to this because it's so important. Education without morality can actually be harmful. If you just become highly intelligent and a super persuasive speaker, but you have zero moral compass, you can use those amazing skills for the wrong reasons. We want your growing intelligence to always, always be guided by God's truth. The goal of this lesson isn't just to make you a more capable speaker. The ultimate goal is that your knowledge actually helps you make wise, God-honoring choices out there in the real world.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative question to just think about right now. How will you use your voice and your intelligence for God's glory in your presentation today? As you step up to the front of that room, my challenge to you is to pursue academic excellence, to be bold and confident, all while keeping your mind completely centered on honoring Him with your truth, your wisdom, and your righteous choices. You are so ready for this. Let's get out there and have an incredible presentation day.